Welcome to my channel.
And this is English Podcast Station.
Hey everybody, and welcome to the deep dive. We all mess up sometimes, right? And when we do, we gotta apologize. Today we're gonna deep dive into the art of saying sorry.
Yeah, and to help us navigate this tricky territory, we've got an episode from English Podcast Station.
Ooh, I like that podcast.
It's a good one. And this particular episode is all about apologizing in romantic relationships.
Woo la la. Love and language. That's a great combo.
Yeah.
I'm always up for learning some new ways to smooth things over with my significant other. But what makes this episode so special?
Well, it's not just about learning phrases. It's about, actually understanding the nuances of a sincere apology. It's like how to say sorry in a way that really shows you mean it.
I feel like I need a master class in that.
Yeah.
I'm so bad at apologizing sometimes. It's like I get all tongue-tied and end up making things worse.
Don't worry, we've all been there. And that's where this episode comes in handy. They use a dialogue between a boyfriend and girlfriend who've gotten themselves into a bit of a pickle.
Ooh, a real-life scenario. That's always more engaging than just a dry lecture on grammar. So what kind of apology situation are we dealing with here?
Well, it's a classic, the forgotten anniversary.
Ouch.
Yeah, I know, right? Everyone's worst nightmare. But it's something we can all relate to, Those moments when you realize you've really messed up.
Like big time. So how does this boyfriend try to dig himself out of this hole?
Well, first off, he starts by owning up to his mistake. With a simple but sincere, I'm really sorry.
Okay, so he's acknowledging that he screwed up.
Yeah.
It's a good first step, right?
No.
But I feel like a lot of people get stuck there. They just say, I'm sorry, and think that's enough.
Yeah, and that's where things can go wrong. A simple I'm sorry might not cut it, especially if it's a big deal. What matters is what comes after that. How you demonstrate that you understand the impact of your actions.
Show that you actually care, and you're not just saying it to get out of trouble.
Exactly. And this is where the episode gets really insightful. The boyfriend doesn't just offer a generic apology, he actually goes a step further. He acknowledges how his actions have made his girlfriend feel.
Oh, so he's showing empathy. That's huge in any apology, right? Putting yourself in the other person's shoes and understanding why they're hurt.
Exactly. He says something like, I know being busy isn't an excuse, and I feel terrible that I let you down.
Wow, that's way better than just, blaming his busy schedule. He's taking responsibility. That's got to score some points, right?
Definitely. He's showing her that he's not just trying to get off the hook. He genuinely gets it. And then, you know what he does? To show he really means it.
What's that?
He comes up with a plan to make it up to her. A special dinner date to celebrate their anniversary properly, even though it's late.
The classic makeup date. But, I think it can be really effective when it's done genuinely, right?
Oh.
It shows effort. It's like actions speak louder than words kind of thing.
Exactly. It's not just empty promises. He's showing he's willing to go the extra mile to fix things. I'm curious, though, how does the girlfriend respond to all this? Is she ready to forgive and forget right away?
Yeah. Does she let him off the hook easily?
Well, not exactly. She's not the type to just brush it off, She acknowledges his apology, which is good, but she makes it clear that she's hurt.
Good for her. She's not letting him get away with it that easily. I mean, he forgot their anniversary. That's got to sting a bit.
It definitely would for me, but what's important here is she's communicating openly and honestly, which is key in any relationship, right?
Totally. Honesty is always the best policy, even when it's tough. So we've got the sincere apology, the acceptance of responsibility, and the plan to make things right. What else can we learn from this dialogue? Anything else that stood out to you?
Well, the podcast hosts point out the importance of tone when you're apologizing.
Oh yeah, tone makes a huge difference. You can say, I'm sorry, in so many different ways. You can be sarcastic or you can be genuine. It all comes down to how you say it.
Right, a sarcastic tone just kills the whole apology, like you're not really sorry at all. But in this dialogue, the boyfriend's tone is soft and genuine. You can hear the remorse in his voice.
You can just feel the sincerity, right? It's not just empty words.
Exactly. And another interesting thing they point out is the use of pet names. He calls her Honey during the apology, and it adds this layer of warmth and affection.
That's an interesting point. So using a pet name could soften the blow a little, but it could also backfire if it doesn't sound sincere. What do you think?
I think it definitely depends on the couple and how they usually talk to each other. If they're always using pet names, it's probably fine. But if it feels forced, it could make the apology seem fake.
Like you're trying too hard to be sweet and cover up the fact that you messed up?
Exactly. We'll dive more into that later when we talk about those little details that can make or break an apology.
Okay, so far we've unpacked a lot from this first apology. We've seen the importance of sincerity, taking responsibility, and even paying attention to those subtle things like tone and pet names.
And guess what? This is just the first apology scenario. There's another one in the episode that I think you'll find even more interesting. It brings up some really thought-provoking stuff about taking responsibility and cultural differences in apologies.
Oh man, this is getting good. I can't wait to dive into that next scenario. Let's see what other apology gems we can uncover.
I'm ready when you are. Okay, so you ready for round 2 of apologies?
Hit me with it. I'm all ears. What's this next apology all about?
This time, it's the girlfriend's turn to say sorry.
Ooh, interesting. What does she do? Spill the tea.
Well, she's late for their date.
Oh, the dreaded late arrival. We've all been there, right? Sometimes life just gets in the way.
It totally does. And in this case, she's got some pretty good reasons for being late. Traffic was a nightmare. And to top it off, her phone died.
Ugh, the double whammy. I hate when that happens. You're stuck in traffic with no way to let anyone know what's going on. It's the worst. But even with those reasons, you still got to apologize, right? It's about respecting the other person's time.
Right. It's not just about having a valid excuse. It's about acknowledging the impact your actions had on the other person. And in this scenario, she does a great job of that.
So even though she's not entirely to blame, she's taking responsibility. I like that. It shows maturity.
Exactly. She doesn't just come in with a laundry list of excuses. Instead, she says something like, "I'm so sorry I'm late, honey. The traffic was crazy and my phone died, so I couldn't even call you."
Okay, I see what you mean. She's explaining the situation, but she's not using it as a free pass. She's still owning up to being late. That's important, right? Taking ownership even when things are out of your control.
Absolutely. It shows you care about how your actions affect the other person. And you know what else she does that I think is really smart?
Tell me, what's her next move?
She reassures him that it won't happen again.
Smart move. It's like she's saying, I messed up this time, but trust me, I'll be more careful in the future.
Exactly. It reinforces the idea that she values his time and she's committed to being reliable. Which, let's be honest, is super important in any relationship.
Trust is everything. If you can't rely on someone to be there when they say they'll be there, that's a problem. So you know what's interesting?
What's that?
It's cool to see how both of these apologies, even though they're for different situations, share those same key ingredients, like sincerity, taking responsibility, and acknowledging how their actions affected the other person.
Right. You nailed it. The core principles of a good apology, they're pretty universal. No matter what the situation is, a good apology always has those elements.
It's like a recipe for a perfect apology cake.
I love that. A perfect apology cake. What would the ingredients be?
Let's see, a big scoop of sincerity, a dash of responsibility, a pinch of empathy, and a sprinkle of understanding.
Perfect. Mix it all together and you've got yourself a delicious apology.
Okay, but let's get back to those specific phrases they use in the podcast. I always find it helpful to hear real-life examples. It's like getting a cheat sheet for how to say sorry in different situations.
Oh, totally. And they do a great job of highlighting some really useful phrases that anyone can use, regardless of their English level. They focus on simple but powerful expressions like, "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to hurt you," and "Can you forgive me?"
Those are classics for a reason. Straightforward and to the point. But as we discussed earlier, it's not just about the words, it's about how you deliver them.
Exactly. It's all about that sincerity and genuine remorse. And the podcast hosts, they actually demonstrate how to say these phrases with the right tone and inflection.
No, I like that. It's one thing to see the words written down, but hearing them spoken aloud with the right emotion, that's where the magic happens.
You got it. It helps you get a feel for how to use those phrases naturally in a conversation.
Like you're not just reciting lines from a script. You're actually feeling the words and expressing genuine regret.
Exactly. And you know, another thing they talk about that I think is super relevant, especially in today's world, is cultural differences.
Ooh, that's a fascinating topic. I'm always curious about how different cultures approach apologies.
Well, the podcast hosts make a great point that what might be considered a perfectly acceptable apology in one culture could be seen as totally inappropriate in another.
Oh, I can totally see that. Like what might seem casual and lighthearted in one culture could be seen as disrespectful or insincere in another.
Exactly. For example, they mention how in English we often use phrases like "my bad" for those minor everyday slip-ups.
My bad, yeah, totally. I use that one all the time. But are you saying that might not fly in other cultures?
It might not. In some cultures, a more formal apology might be expected even for a small mistake.
That's a good reminder that we need to be mindful of cultural differences. A simple phrase like "my bad" could be misinterpreted or even cause offense. It's all about being sensitive and respectful.
Exactly. And on the flip side, some cultures have these very specific apology rituals or phrases that might seem strange or over the top to someone from a different background.
It's like learning a whole new language of etiquette.
You got it. And that's why the podcast hosts emphasize the importance of cultural awareness when it comes to apologizing.
Okay, so we've got this foundation of sincerity, taking responsibility, and using those key phrases.
Yeah.
But then we need to add this layer of cultural sensitivity to make sure our apologies are well received, no matter who we're talking to.
It's like we're building a multi-layered apology cake here. It's got the base, the frosting, and now we're adding those delicate cultural decorations.
Love it. But you know what else I'm curious about? They touched on this briefly in the episode.
What's that?
The use of pet names in apologies. They mentioned that it can add a layer of warmth and intimacy, but it can also backfire if it's not done sincerely.
Right. Pet names, they can be tricky. Like, when are they appropriate in an apology and when do they just make things worse?
Yeah, it's like that fine line between sweet and sappy. You don't want to overdo it, but you also don't want to sound cold and distant. It's a delicate balance.
It totally is.
Yeah.
So the question is, when do pet names enhance the sincerity? And when do they come across as fake or manipulative?
That's a great question. Let's unpack that as we continue our deep dive into the art of saying sorry. Okay, so let's unravel this mystery of pet names and apologies. I mean, they can be cute, but they can also feel kind of cheesy, right? Like, when is it okay to use them, and when should we just stick to a plain old, I'm sorry?
Well, I think it really comes down to the relationship itself. You know, how do they normally talk to each other? If they're the kind of couple that uses pet names all the time, then sprinkling one into an apology can actually add to the sincerity. It kind of reinforces that loving connection, you know, even when things are a little rough.
Yeah, like you're reminding them that despite this mess up, you still care about them, right?
Exactly. It's like
Yeah.
saying, hey, even though I messed up, you're still my honey, my sweetie, my pumpkin pie, whatever they call each other.
Pumpkin pie. That's a new one. But you know, I'm thinking, what if the pet name just feels forced? Like it's out of the blue?
Yeah.
Could that actually make things worse?
Oh, absolutely. If it's not genuine, it can totally backfire. If they never use pet names and suddenly he's all like, oh, honey, I'm so sorry. It's going to sound fake.
Like he's trying too hard to smooth things over. And it might make her think, wait a minute, are you just trying to sweet talk your way out of this?
Right. It's like trying to put a Band-Aid on a broken arm. You got to address the real issue, not just cover it up with sugary language.
So basically, it all comes down to authenticity, right? Being true to yourself and the way you communicate with your partner. If pet names are already part of your love language, go for it. But if they feel out of place, maybe stick to a heartfelt, I'm sorry.
Couldn't have said it better myself. It's all about reading the room, understanding your partner, and choosing words that feel right for both of you.
You know, it's amazing how much we can learn from just one episode of a language learning podcast. It's not just about grammar and vocabulary. It's about understanding the nuances of communication, the emotional side of language.
Totally. And that's what makes it so fascinating. We're not just dissecting phrases, we're delving into the psychology of how we interact with each other.
And let's not forget the cultural aspect. We can't assume that everyone apologizes the same way.
Absolutely. Cultural awareness is key. What might be a perfectly acceptable apology in one culture could be a major faux pas in another. It's all about being sensitive and respectful of those differences.
So to wrap up our deep dive into the world of apologies, I think we can all agree that it's a skill worth mastering. It's about more than just saying those two little words, I'm sorry. It's about being sincere, taking responsibility, and understanding how our actions affect others.
Beautifully said. And remember, even if you mess up those grammar rules sometimes, a genuine apology will always come through.
So keep those apologies coming, keep those conversations flowing, and keep exploring the wonderful world of language. Until next time, happy apologizing, everyone.